This is our Wednesday night hump. We do every Wednesday night here, 11 p.m. Central European time. So glad that you guys showed up. I'm glad to always have you here. While we wait for more people to show up in the live stream, we'll warm up by first saying, again, thank you so much for showing up. I always like to say, time is a valuable thing, and spending a little bit of it with me is really, really greatly appreciated. So thank you so much for that. Yeah, guys. I was a little bit under the weather on Sunday when we did Sunday at Mike's because of the cold I had from the previous week. But I thought I finally shook it, but the thing boomerang back on me. Unfortunately, I'm finding myself with a slight fever, to be honest. I'm drinking everything correct to help that. But anyway, I was able to sit down and write a script today at the last minute. It was around 5:30, 6 o'clock. I had just finished walking my dog, one of my two dogs now. And I said, holy crap, I haven't even put anything up for the Wednesday night hump. But I pretty much well knew what I wanted to talk tonight. Hey, Ben, good evening. Good to see you, man. Thank you always so much for showing up, man. Just always there for this channel. I do appreciate it. But yeah, this cold is boomerang back on me again. You gotta imagine, I've lived for an average of over 3 to 5 years in 5 countries in my lifetime, and I've been exposed to a lot of crap in a lot of different places. But I have to say, this stay in Europe has proved itself to be the most germy, I guess. I guess you could say that I've experienced, and that's saying something. It's in the places I've been to. That's saying something, and it just, makes me not want to go out the front door some days for what's lurking out there. But yeah, these European illnesses, they linger, So it didn't help that my immune system was down from the previous week, but man, this one is a lingerer. But I think I've got it. It's still there, but it's not bad. I did get in something very exciting in the mail today that I've been waiting for. I told you guys that I was waiting to get a digital caliper so that I can start taking readings of a lot of these really good guitars that are coming through. I like watching those channels where, like Trogley's, where they measure the nut, at the top and at the 12th fret and all that. I said, hey, you know what? I'd like to start documenting that in the videos that I do, especially with these 70s, 80s, and 90s guitars that I have coming through here all the time. So really cool. You would think to yourself that I would already have something like this, but no, I had one of these before. And really excited about it. I actually took some measurements of that Greco, both Grecos, the 76 and the collection made by Tokai. So different companies made those two guitars for Greco, but the nut width was exactly to the letter the same on both of those guitars. There's about 20 years difference between those two. So I found that to be interesting. I'll talk more about that in the video that I shot for that, reviewing those two guitars that will be coming up next. But really excited about that. I'm so happy that I was able to get one of those. I, am steadily building up my tools and just have the stuff because, it's better to have it not needed than needed not have it. And that's kind of always been my viewpoint of things. 3-Chord Dave in the house. Hope you're doing well. Well, I got a little bit of a fever tonight, to be honest. Yesterday you could fry an egg on my forehead. Tonight I've got it under control a little bit so I could do this. But yeah, this cold is just lingering on me, guys. It just really sucks. But I am so glad that you guys are here. Always glad that you all show up all the Dave, I'm yet to send that email out to you because I've just been sick. But I do have something I want to talk to you about, so that will be coming here. Hopefully this weekend I can settle down. You know, I guess that's enough people to get started with tonight's subject. Tonight's subject is smart guitar buying um, in tough times. I'm good. Now, you know the motto of this channel is I'm good. If I ever did like caps or t-shirts or even mugs, it would say, I actually have a rough sketch of an idea in mind. I might actually do that one of these days, have some of that stuff available. But the motto of this channel has always been I'm good. And I'd like to talk a little bit about something a little different tonight than what I usually talk about. Maybe not. But we're going to talk about the core motto of this channel tonight in depth. We're really going to understand what I mean by I'm good and how it applies to the philosophy of this channel, as well as the general philosophy that I try to put out there with all of my content, to be frank with you. This is a general theme since the beginning of this channel. I'm good. And what does that mean? Mike in the house. Mike, what do you think of Japan-made Epiphones? Well, we've had a few, one or two Japanese-made Epiphones roll through here. We've had a Epiphone E, two Epiphone SGs actually from Japan from 1991, I believe, or so. 92, 91 of those. And I think that they're excellent guitars if you can get the Elitist series that came out of Japan. Again, very similar to the Greco Mint collection, the way that those are made. Yeah, so those are my thoughts on that. But if I never saw another Japanese Epiphone, I'm good. And what does that mean? It's simple. It means I'm content with the gear that I have. More than that, it's about making smarter choices when it comes to buying, selling, and keeping your collection under control without breaking the bank. You know, I cast a wide eye of Siron across Mount Doom. I really keep a broad eye on a lot of things, not just guitar related, obviously, but geopolitics, economics, you know, social disruptions, things of that nature, and you know, food cost, inflation is really the driving factor on a lot of people's minds these days, you know. And of course, that inflation just doesn't extend to food, it extends out to a lot of things. And certainly, some would say that guitars are really a luxury item. It's something that you could live without. Um, I think that any household, whether it's one individual or many individuals, if you have instruments in that household, it's just something that I consider to be a plus as far as enriching yourself, whether you're professional or not. A piano, a guitar, whatever, a set of congas, whatever. But so I don't think that. However, I do think that owning most is not cool. And I've gotten into my reasons behind that before regarding the ecology of it and the waste and the fact that there's so many out there in the secondary market. Why would you buy? Anyway, but to be content with the gear that you have is really in today's market with this inflation pushing prices up across the board. It's even more important to be savvy about our gear. Whether you're eyeing that vintage Les Paul or brand new Fender, the prices can be staggering. That's why I want to spend tonight's stream breaking down how you can hold on to a solid collection of gear while staying within your budget. So let's dig into the motto of this channel, I'm good. For me, this means being satisfied with the gear that I have. And if I decide to get something new, I make a rule to sell something. It helps keep my wallet in check, my collection manageable, and prevents me from impulse buying. It's about quality over quantity. See, I've always been a quality over quantity kind of guy. Of course, there's those guys who you know, would prefer to have the quantity over the quality. 10 so-so, or the Japanese say mama guitars, as opposed to one or two really fine instruments. I'm more of the one or two fine instruments kind of guy. And of course, by a fine instrument, it doesn't necessarily mean it has to be something that breaks the bank. I've demonstrated that here on this channel, that there are a lot of affordable guitars out of Japan, for example, that are excellent instruments that you can get that won't break the bank. I would rather have one, to answer your question of Japanese Epiphones, I would rather have one well-made Japanese Epiphone era Epiphone than 10 Fireflies or 10 Harley Benton's, to be honest with you. Well, you could say to me, well, you could have a Jag, you could have a SG, you could have this, that, or the other, but no. See, because for me as a professional, I also talked about the intimacy that I develop with a certain instrument. That I know its quirks, I know how, and it talks to me, it speaks to me. And I'm afraid that I just don't see how 10 of something else is going to speak to me to that one or two that do. So the one in, one out rule really has been one of the key tenets of the I'm Good. As you guys know, from my own personal gear, I'm not talking about, the guitars that I deal in, but in my own personal gear, it's one in, one out. Recently, a good member of our community, Tall Thin Kev, reached out to me and offered me a pedal. He said, hey, I've got this pedal. Would you be interested in buying it? And I kind of was, because it's a pedal that I don't have, a chorus pedal. So I said a chorus pedal would be something to be nice to have around. I have a chorus modeling in the Fender Champ 40, but this is a little bit different. And so before I committed to buying that, I actually took a look around and I looked at some things that I could sell. And there's a little shop down the street. The guy indulges me. He got the Fender Champion 40 from in the first place. I bought it off of him. Actually, I did some pedal swaps with him. So he's a guy that I've been swapping stuff. So I actually sold him some pedals. Not serious ones, but ones that I just, it just wasn't working for me. And it came up with most of the money that I then used to buy that chorus from Tall Thin Kev, which hasn't showed up yet, but I'm sure it'll be in the mail in a day here. But again, even in something as simple, easy transaction like that, I will always put the one in, one out rule first. It's just something that I highly recommend. Emotional attachment to gear. Letting go of used items can be freeing too in a lot of ways. I caught a lot of heat. Well, not a lot of heat, but I got a little bit of heat in the comment section when I told everybody that I made that swap for that 1977 Greco Super Sounds that I had for the 2007 Fender Telecaster, made in Mexico Telecaster. Now, as it turns out, that dealer that I made that deal with had mislabeled that guitar. He thought it was a 2010 Midnight Wine. I thought it was a little off for Midnight Wine. It's usually a darker one. And I don't know why he didn't, but I just used two Fender daters just to make sure that it's actually a 2007 Candy Apple Red Telecaster. And the value of that guitar, the 2007 Candy Apple Red Telecaster, the 62 reissue, was $100 more value than even I thought I was trading for the Greco. So the grief that I got was a lot of people saying, hey, I can't believe that you would get rid of that 70s Greco and trade it for, a modern Fender. They completely missed the point of that. The point of it was creating value in the Greco. I got it for cheap. I did the work 90% myself. Fern finished it up, and I was able to trade that in about, like I said, about 300 was the all in on that for an 800 euro Telecaster, Fender Telecaster. So I don't get, the only one guitar right now that I have an emotional attachment that I have to admit is the Greco Les Paul Custom. And that's only because since I was 16 years old, I've always wanted one. Other than that, as you guys know, I don't get emotional. As a matter of fact, I'm getting more and more colder about things. Hey, that's gotta go. That or let's move this. Hey, call say, hey, I got something here. Are you interested? I don't get emotional, and I suggest that you try to step back from the emotionalism that we can get with some of our gear. The sentimentality, that's a killer. That sentimentality will not help you unless it's something that your wife, your parents, or somebody like that bought for you, or something that's significant like that. Then okay, I can understand that. But I would recommend trying to develop a certain amount of emotional detachment when it comes to your gear as well. A tough thing to do. But I mention it only because I had so many people who, oh, I couldn't believe I did that. Oh, yeah, I did. And I'm happy I did. It actually turned out to my advantage. Mention that because smart buyers don't let gear acquisition syndrome control them. Instead, they control their collection. They control your collection, so their collection. Uh, gas, uh, many ways to the dark side, and gas happened to be one of them for us, unfortunately. And so I have to mention about the emotional detachment, the awareness of gas, and the one in, one out when it comes to I'm good. I think of those three, the emotional detachment will probably be the hardest for most people. Now, the economy's been tough on all of us. And for guitar players, the cost of instruments has skyrocketed. Inflation has hit the gear market hard. A new American Fender Stratocaster costs you close to $2,000 now, which I looked that up just today, to give an example of something that's gone up, and I can't believe it. Again, I I don't buy new guitars, so but I do sort of keep aware of their market values, of course. And I just in my I guess getting older kind of mind, I saw those guitars, those Fender Strats, as being in the 12 to 1300 euro range. To find out that these things are going for $2,000 now, when I looked it up, I was quite shocked. And that's just for the standard model, by the way. No bells or whistles. But what's interesting is that while new gear prices are rising, there's been a bit of a slowdown in the used market. You know, again, it's your choice. It's up to you. But but the secondary market, I've said it before, I'll say it again, is your best friend. Jess, hey dude, hey, how you doing? How's it going? It's going fine, sir. Glad to have you here. Mike Mara says, I think you should keep custom. It's awesome. Thank you, Mike. Yeah, dude, I have to tell you again. I've said the story before. I'll say it 1,000 times. My friend in high school, Steve DeMont, had a 1976-77 Les Paul Custom. He was the only guy in high school at that time who actually had a Gibson, because none of us had Gibsons. We were playing courts and stuff like that. And I was not jealous. I don't have a jealous or enviable bone in my body, to be honest with you, but I did recognize that as being the coolest guitar ever. And after playing it and spending some time with it, like I have now, that I have one, I realized that actually, da da da. The Les Paul Standard is not, it does not attract me as much as the custom does. I guess I didn't know it. I've had a lot of standards. I've got plenty of them now. Got more to come. But this is the first custom that I've had, and it appeals to me. I don't know what it is about it, but it just appeals to me. Neck is the same. I measured the necks on them just to see if there's any difference in those necks and there are not. So it's not that playability, it's just I don't know what it is. So yeah, I'd like to hold on to it for sure, but again, I cannot be emotional about it. That's why I said that emotional is that's the kind of stuff that I don't want. Because if somebody makes me a right offer on that custom, I have to be willing to say, yeah, I always wanted one. Well, at least I had it for a little while. Catch and release. The fishermen who go out there, they fish all day, they catch it, they reel it in, take the hook out of his mouth and throw it right back in the water again. Well, that's kind of me, or at least what I've become. When it comes to buying new gear, it's all about timing and knowing where to look. Now, that Greco mint condition Les Paul that I showed on Sunday, I got for a great price because I did my homework and I waited for a long time with a lot of patience for the right moment. And I knew exactly what I was going to spend. Again, like I said, on those mint collection guitars, the Japanese dealers, they're starting to get hip that these are in demand among certain collectors who are willing to pay up to a point a premium on them. However, with that guitar, it's EG Electric Guitar 5950. The 59 means the model, that's EG Electric Guitar 1959 model. The 50 represents its value in yen. Gold yen. I will value that gold yen. I'll put it into an inflation calculator, and I will determine how much a gold yen guitar like that costs, and I will not pay one dime above that. So that's how I do it. Set a budget before you even start looking. Compare different sellers, platforms, and don't be afraid to negotiate. That's one of the reasons I like my agent in Japan, Yamato-san. He's an Osaka guy. And Osaka guys are really, they like trading. They like dealing. They, I'll write him, hey, take a look at this guitar. Write to this guy and see if it's available and what he'll do. And he'll say, I'm going to ask for a discount. I don't even tell him ask for a discount because I know automatically he's going to ask and he'll push it. Don't be afraid to negotiate. Check for hidden gems in smaller shops, online forums, and local classified ads. Again, that's how I found that mint collection. I found it on the equivalent of like the back pages or whatever classified section in Japan. I found it in their equivalent of that. Not even like Reverb or eBay or anything like that. It was really literally on a site that deals with all kinds of secondhand dealers. And again, these are ways, of course, depending upon where you're at, you can use Reverb, Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, etc., all those places. Or you can go to mylespaul.com, websites like that, and go to their classifieds. And there's a lot of ways that you can find secondhand instruments. The inflation's already been baked out of the equation that you would find in a new instrument. You're not going to pay $2,000 for a secondhand American Standard. They're quite cheaper than that. And I would say that it would behoove you to look into the secondary market now, especially in the condition that it's in. Like I said, we're getting to the point of capitulation with a lot of these sellers. And so bargains can be had. I don't like advantage of other people's misery. However, I will not, bend you over the coals. but I am going to try to get a fair price, only something that makes sense for me, so that I can pass that on when I sell it. So just a couple of ways that you can spot a good deal. Ways that you can spot a good deal. Now, there's an art to trading and selling. And sometimes the best way to upgrade your collection is by letting go of something. I just gave you an example of how I let go of not two wall pedals. My mod tone is really my favorite old-fashioned wah, but I had an auto wall pedal. I don't know if you guys remember that one. I had for a minute, and I sold that along with a mini pedal and distortion, and I got, he gave me 40 euros, 45 euros for those two. The cost that I was buying off a Tall Thin Cave was about, Kev was about 80 euros or so. So yeah, I paid for, half to two-thirds of it from that. And again, I won't buy anything, even unless there's something that I can sell in order to fund completely or at least partially that purchase. Now, it can be tough to part ways with pedals that are easy for me, but it may be tough for you to part ways with a guitar that you love, but it's collecting dust. If it's just sitting there collecting dust, why not turn it into something new that maybe you will play or something that you may enjoy? Trading gear can be a great option, especially if you're looking to swap for something of similar value without spending cash. Again, I did that trade for that 77 Greco for that 2007 Fender Made in Japan Tele because there was value there in that trade, and it was a two-way street. The guy that I traded with, I didn't put a gun to his head. Obviously, he saw a value with that Greco as well. So there was something in there for everybody. Trades are like business negotiation. Any business negotiation that's halfway decent is one where both parties can walk away somewhat happy. Maybe, a little slight, but basically happy, where both parties can walk away happy. So always, I've said that before, is always when there's something that I would take in if somebody came to me with this. If somebody came with this kind of deal, with this kind of offer, would this be something that I would be interested in? So there's that. Now, every guitar player's collection is different. But what's important is having gear that works for you. You don't need 20 guitars if you can cover all the sound you need with 2 or 3 good ones. For me, the Fender Telecaster, of all, speaking of that Fender Telecaster, I always believed that the Fender Telecaster was the jack of all trades guitars. If you have a Fender Telecaster, to be frank with you, you don't need a Strat, you don't need a Les Paul. You can pretty much dial in the tones for all that stuff with a Telecaster. It would be, it's a Swiss Army knife of guitars. And one Telecaster will cover just about any genre you can think of: rock, funk, country, blues, jazz. It could be done on a Telecaster. Would jazz be as eloquent sounding on a Telecaster as on a 335? No. However, tonally, you could get there. And the audience, again, wouldn't care. Just saying. So, for me, I just, again, this is a quality quantity part of the argument that I brought up in the beginning. Isn't it funny that to have a proper guitar YouTube channel, you gotta have a shot of you with, 1,000 guitar. Here I got cases, but the cases of the guitars. But you want to have like 20,000, guitars behind you. And hey, I'm the man. See my guitar collection hanging behind me. I've always found that to be, oh, okay, you got a lot of cars, but it to me, I found it slightly distasteful. I do, especially when a lot of them really look like props. Like you haven't really played that. That's just hanging there. Um, it's mon denied. It's waste. So the guy who's got two or three guitars. Again, I talk about Robert Baker. Robert Baker has that '78 Les Paul that is that defines him and who his channel is. And that's the one that he mostly brings out and does his demos on, unless it requires a Strat. He'll bring out his Strat. But those one or two guitars are really, I respect him because he doesn't, he doesn't, he doesn't have that wall of guitars. Although I'm sure he does. I'm sure he has quite a few. But that's not his vocal point. His focus point. His focus point is on that one instrument and discussing it and what it does, without the distractions and stuff behind. So quality over quantity. It's better to have a smaller collection that covers a wide range of tones than a huge collection you never fully use. My thoughts. Now, high-end guitars aren't even really necessary. If you can make a lower cost instrument work for you with a proper setup or mod, then by all means do it. Your wallet will be happy. You'll be doing the right thing, focusing on the instrument that you have as opposed to the one that you don't, that you want. And a whole lot of other stuff that from that. A whole lot of other things that comes from that. Again, just, quality over quantity. Really, just something to think about. Now, this is a conversation guide. I would want to hear from you all now. What are your thoughts on managing your budget? Have you found any amazing deals lately? What do you think about this strategy? And have you ever had any examples that you could give? So I'd like to hear from you guys. I'd like to hear your stories at this point, and also a small reminder here as well that we're trying to get to 5,000 subscribers by the end of this year. I would at least, we are halfway there now. I'm thankful for that. Do I think that we'll make it the other half of the way? Probably not, but I'm sure going to keep on trying to. I'm never going to give up. We will get there eventually. But this push did get me well to halfway there, so I am thankful for that. So if you haven't yet subscribed yet, and you like what you're hearing tonight, take the 2 seconds to hit the subscription button so you always get notifications of new stuff as they come up. Live streams, regular content, all the stuff that comes up on this channel. Anthony Thorhill in the house. How you doing, Anthony? Good to see you. Mark Holder in the house. What's up? How you doing, Mark? It is so good to see you, sir. I always wanted one of those bald, bad horsey switchless wah. Yeah, yeah. This was this wah was like it was a copy of a copy. It was a decent pedal, but I don't like auto wahs. I gotta have your foot going because sometimes you could double up. Just anyway, just didn't work for me, but. Does it gent though? It's always a question to ask. Funny stuff, guys. Honestly, this is really my thought process that I've laid out here tonight for you guys. And when it comes to buying, You know, one of the stresses and one of the great joys of dealing guitars is the hunt, the safari. But at the same time, just because I find something that I think is fantastic, I'm not going to overpay for it either because, I've got to move it on. I've got to make some money off of it too. And one of the best sightings, I guess why I can easily be a catch and release guy is because I know that, okay, I got this, I finally had one, I've seen what it's about, let it go. Because I know that there's always something coming down the line new, different. So that's what makes it, I guess, after thinking about it, what makes it so easy for me to not, even when I get really cool things in that I know I may or may not ever get in again, I can let go because the anticipation of the next thing. So again, I'm kind of a catch and release kind of guy, my mentality. But again, you kind of have to be that way. It's tough, but you have to be that way. The motto of this channel is I'm good. It's about being satisfied with what you have. What is that? Brothers, just be thankful what you got. Diamond in the back, sun rooftop. You know that song? Just be thankful for what you got. You know, I, you know, I've always appreciated everything. And I think that by keeping my collection small or making it small over time, that the pieces that I do have, I appreciate them even more. Because these are the ones that made the cut. And one of these days I don't have a permanent guitar of my own really. Every one of my guitars I consider that I have to be for sale eventually. But one of these days I will run into one. Maybe it's this Greco Custom, like I said, that will be my keeper, and I will be so thankful for it and so grateful for it, and I won't need anything else. But again, um, it's about making smart buying decisions as well, keeping your wallet and your collection in check. Um, it really is difficult to manage expectations with gear. Ben says, you just got to keep telling yourself, if I can make this inexpensive guitar sound good, make any guitar sound good. That's what I do. Yeah, Ben. Yeah, again, inexpensive now to me is kind of weird because, inexpensive is a subjective term. What I would consider probably be inexpensive, I'm quite sure on the other side of the fence somebody would think to be excessive. So I just like to say, if I can find a good guitar and make it sound good, then I'm doing something. Uh, and then your philosophy is taking that instrument, a good instrument, and making it sound good through working with it is we all should be striving for. That is, again, I'm good. I'm good with this because I haven't even mastered it yet. There's 88 keys on the keyboard. When I master all 88 of these keys, then I'll worry about getting myself another keyboard. But for right now, this is the one that I've used for years to record the piano and other parts on my albums. And I haven't felt the need to get another one. So, uh, you know, and there's that. I'm good. It works. I'm good. So, again, these points, guys, I wrote down really just as ways to discuss what I'm good. It's been a minute since I've talked about I'm good. It's been a moment since I've really dug into the motto of this channel and applied it, or at least show you how I apply it on a day-to-day basis. It's not just a motto, it really is my way of life. Um, this philosophy of I'm good, again, starts from a point of satisfaction. You may not be the type of cat who's ever satisfied. You may be that cat who's on his third or fourth wife. Not passing judgments, just saying. Or, or you date a different person every month. It comes down to being satisfied with what you got. And that's something that we all have to work on. We all have to work on that. Sometimes just splurging makes you feel good. You're feeling down and you feel, well, if I spend money out, if I go get this, it'll make me feel a lot better. And maybe for 5 or 10 minutes it will. But like the sugar high from a Twinkie, it soon burns off and you're left, back in the doldrums again. As opposed to looking around and saying, hey, let me get rid of some of that stuff so that I can get this one thing and really work with that and try to make the most out of that one thing. Again, it's trying to switch the way that we think and the way that we view things, the way that we look at things. And this type of consumerism thought, I'm talking about applying it to guitars, but you could take the same philosophy and apply it to your clothes, the clothes that you have, at home. I'm like a habitual blue jean wearer. I have like 10 pairs of blue jeans. No, very slight variations in their colors, where they're blue jeans. From literally all over the world. I bought some in Japan, I bought some in the States. Hell, I bought a pair in Germany when I was there. I walked by the store and saw a pair and I bought them. I've bought jeans all over the world, but I will wear that out to where I was walking down the street and my girl said to me, she's like, I can see your underwear there in the back. Your jeans are ripped down at the bottom. And I ain't into that kind of easy access, so I knew it was time to let those go and to buy another pair. So I've always been that kind of frugal. I think it's because of the lifestyle that I've lived. Just holding on to what you got and making it work. So again, it may come a little easier to me to do these things. It depends upon you, and for you it may be far easier than even that. Or you may find it difficult. But again, this kind of thought plays across a lot of aspects of our lives. And I think that taming that aspect of your life, if gas is a problem, then you need to tame it. Yeah, I really want to touch back on that I understand and even I, as a Guitar Gear channel, I have, when I shoot my regular content, I have a collection of guitars and amps that I have in the background. However, most of those are for sale. And the other part of that is, so it's kind of like advertising for me, what I got. The other thing is that they all get played. Every guitar, even the ones that I bring in for sale, I put them in rotation. I restring them with new strings, and I play them constantly in rotation. Well, let me play this one today. Okay, I played that one the other day. I want them to be played. Even if I enjoy playing them, I'll be honest with you, some of the Strats, the Greco Strats that I've had in, I did not enjoy playing them. So the other reason why I was able to let that 77 Super Sounds go, because it was nice and I did a great restoration job on it, but I did not enjoy playing that guitar. I was wrestling with that neck. So there's that too. But again, this cuts across all aspects of your life. So I'm good is in a lot of ways a general life philosophy. It's not just here for guitars and pedals and amps. It's a general life philosophy. In my case, the I'm good extends out in a lot of aspects of my life. You know, we live life. I got hit with a bill that I was not expecting, and I was able to take care of it because because there was something else that I was seriously thinking about buying. I had a little bit of extra cash laying around. I was like, hey, maybe it might be time to get that. And then I said, you know what? I'm good. I don't need it. I'm all right. And then, like a few days later, a bill came along where I needed that money. You know, well, it helped enormously in taking care of that surprise thing. So, again, do your wallet a favor, do yourself a favor. Talk yourself off the edge. Find reasons why you don't need it. Talk yourself out of a lot. I talk myself out of stuff on a daily basis. And it helps. It helps. You know, don't be joyless. You know, put a little joy in your life. I'm not saying be completely joyous in your life, but these are days that I'm good as a philosophy will do you more harm or do you more good harm. So it's really the reason I wanted to talk about this tonight. Reason I sat down and typed up this script and really because you know I really wanted to define what I'm good means and how I apply it and how you could possibly apply it yourself as well to what you're doing. So I mentioned these things to you guys. I think that's the end of this. I think I've you know, to wrap things up, the motto is I'm good. Again, it's about being satisfied with what you have, making smart buying decisions, keeping your wallet and your collection in check. And I hope that these tips on how to navigate the guitar market or whatever market during these tough times were helpful. And you don't need every guitar out there, guys. You just don't. Just the ones that really make your playing come alive. And that's just really the way that I look at it. The ones that make your playing come alive. I'm going to end it. It usually go an hour, but as I reminded you guys, I was not well tonight. I'm surprised that I've made it this far. I'm surprised that I made it through my script all the way. Um, I took an aspirin before I got started, and that's kicking in a little bit, so the headache fever is reducing down a little bit. But I am going to go. So thank you guys, always, for showing up and listening to these discussions, these thoughts that I have on certain subjects. Tonight's subject was smart guitar buying in tough times. I'm good, and what that means. Thank you, Ben. Thank you. I'll feel better. I just, you know, slowly I feel that shittiness, internal shittiness coming up. So I think I'm going to call it quits here. Um, yeah, guys. So keep an eye. I just put out a video, so I'm in no hurry to put out another one. I do have two in the bucket now. I'm featuring our new digital caliper. But those are interesting subjects to talk about that are coming up on the regular channel. We'll do Sunday at Mike's coming up this Sunday. Hopefully by then I'll feel a lot better. I can do a full hour. You guys, thank you so much for taking the time to tune in this evening. And I will say good night, good morning, or good afternoon, wherever you are, wherever this message finds you. If you watch this in the rerun, I'd love to hear your comment down in the comment section, guys. Your comment below mean a lot. Anthony Thornhill, you're always good enough to give a comment. You watch this in the rerun and you put a comment down below. I always appreciate that, brother. So everybody else, do so. Don't forget to hit the like button. Thank you guys so much for showing up tonight. You guys take care. I will see you soon. Bye-bye. Feeling better. See you soon. Bye-bye.